What's up, guys, and welcome to a car I frankly knew nothing about until I did a little bit of research last night. This is Philip, the owner. This is the 2010 Rossion. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, it's about right.
How do you pronounce it?
Rossion.
Rossion Q1. I'm going to have you explain a little bit about the car, but here's what my 10 minutes of research last night taught me. When Noble stopped producing the M400, they sold the rights to manufacture this car to an American company. Basically kept it the same, made a few tweaks here and there. More or less, it's the same car. Now feel free to correct me.
No, that's correct. Yes, the chassis is completely the same. Actually, the drivetrain is largely the same. There are some changes in the engine compartment layout, and the interior is completely new. Okay.
So in terms of power and weight, what are we talking about here?
So these cars usually run around 400 to 500 horses. Depends on the tune and depends on the boost. So this is a 3-liter, 6-cylinder.
The Duratec, right?
Duratec engine. Okay. Yeah.
6-speed manual. Okay.
Wave. I think that's the differential.
Differential?
Yeah.
What does it weigh?
About 2,600 pounds.
Pretty damn light. Lighter than an S2000. That's all you need to know. With double the horsepower. Is it manual steering? Hydraulic?
It's hydraulic steering. No ABS. No traction control.
ABS. No traction.
No airbags.
Okay. And we're on R888 tires, right?
That's correct.
And what does one of these cars cost nowadays?
So they go anywhere between 60 and 70K actually. So not terribly expensive for what you get.
A lot of performance for the money. Do you know roughly how many were produced?
I would say about 100 of them. And
total, global?
I think so.
Wow.
There's a global registry. I don't know how accurate that one is, but there's about 100 cars there.
So that's
less than 100.
Specifically the Rossions, not the Nobles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excluding Nobles, yes.
Cool. Anything else we should know about this car?
Nope.
Okay.
It's a fun little car.
Let's take it for a spin here at Thunderhill West and see how it does. Wow, there's very little headroom.
Yeah.
My helmet's actually hitting this sill here.
Yeah, mine too. I have to like squish down.
Yeah. Now what's the red line? Is it 7,000?
7,000,
okay.
Yeah.
What's the current state of tune? Is it 400? 450?
It's about 400, but I'm not quite happy with that. You have to spool it up really high, like over 4,000 to get the boost in.
Got it. so many nuances about it that make it feel very challenging for me to drive. Let me park it so I can collect my thoughts. Yeah. How do I try to sum up this car? It's so strange because of a few reasons. First of all, placement of the pedals. I'm sure you've heard this, and probably the first time you got on this car, you felt the same thing. It's very much offset to the right, and the pedals are very close. But there is a tiny little dead pedal on the left. So when I press my left foot, thinking the clutch is there, I hit the dead pedal.
Oh.
So then I have to move my left foot a little bit over, but then the brake pedal's like 1 inch to the right of that, and then the gas pedal's 1 inch to the right of that. So I'm constantly like, let's just say that if your shoe is bigger than like a size 11, maybe, you might find yourself hitting the wrong pedal at times unless you get a lot of practice in this car. Other thing I noticed, the steering, zero load up in the corner. Even though I'm like, I feel like I'm getting closer with each lap, I'm getting closer and closer to the grip limits of the tire, the steering remains the same weight at all times. It's very, very light. So I have actually no idea what the tires are doing. Because like you said, these R888Rs, they don't make any sound.
Yep.
No feedback in the steering, so I have no clue what's happening. So as you saw, I started getting quicker lap after lap.
Yeah.
That was just me slowly like testing the limits in each corner, hoping that nothing bad would happen. Obviously, being turbocharged, heavily turbocharged, there's a lot of turbo lag down low.
Yep.
But also something about the way it's tuned, once I pass about 6,000 RPM, there's a very noticeable drop in power. So basically between 3,500, 6,000, that's the usable power band. There's no reason to rev it past 6. I don't know if that's a tune issue.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird because I felt like, oh, okay, red line's close to 7, let me rev it out. But I felt like the engine was gasping for breath at that high RPM. Brakes are fine, thankfully. Even though there's no ABS, I could press the brake fairly hard. Lots of grip. The car's very light, so 2,600 pounds, mid-engine. Every time I turned a little bit harder lap after lap, I was like, wow, this car can handle this speed. I could just never feel what it was doing, and so that's what held me back. But it's a very unique driving experience. I've never driven anything remotely similar to this. Like a Lotus Exige or something, you get so much steering feedback and it weights up really nicely, and you have that similar feeling of lightweight, you know, low polar moment of inertia because it's mid-engine, which this has a lot of those great qualities, but the steering really, really is strange. The weirdest steering rack I've ever felt in any car. I don't know if you felt the same.
Yeah, it's as I said, you know, it's got a very little feedback, and you know, tires don't talk to you as well, so it's kind of hard to find the limit in this one. Yeah,
it's very hard to find the limit. That's how I would sum it up. It's clearly very capable, though. It's just I feel like in order to drive this hard, you have to become intimately familiar with its limits, and that takes a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again, Philip, for letting me drive this thing.
No problem.
60 to 70 grand. I mean, you could probably go way faster if you bought some other Porsche Cayman S or something. There's like a charm to this that's, you can't just go to any dealership and buy that. Like, you have to go with something a little bit more quirky, and I think that's exactly the word I would use to describe this, as quirky.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I do it.
Yeah. All right, let me know what you guys think of the Rossion Q1, one of the strangest cars I've driven, and yet one of the most enjoyable today because it's so different. It makes you think hard, it makes you work hard, and it's drop dead gorgeous from outside. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.